ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite Dark Sorcerer here. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about adaption and growth. What does it mean, adaption and growth? What does that mean to you as the individual? Okay? What does it mean to you? Okay? In everything that we do as individuals throughout our lives, we have to adapt to the current situations, the current afflictions that we come across in our journey. The same is done within the growth of spirituality, within the magical pursuits of religion, not just the science and the arts. And I want you to think, I want you to think back. If those of you who have children, okay, I want you to think about something. From the time that they're born to the time that they're able to run, walk, crawl, even communicate. These are different stages of development that our children do. Okay? This is what they do through developments, right? Well, when you get into religion, when you get into any form of philosophy from a magician or sorcerer's perspective, it does not matter if you're a sorcerer, sorceress, witch, warlock, hexa, eshi, aja, or even a strega, a palero, whatever. It does not matter. You can't just pick up a book and dub yourself a bokor. You cannot dub yourself a priest of such and such a religion. Now, there are likewise, as there are with growing up, there are stages that must be done. You've heard the expression, crawl before you walk. Guess what? The same must be done in any given magical foundation. No matter what tradition, the same must be done. You have to understand through intense research, intense study, experimentation, and most importantly, the applications that are derived from your personalized growth within that tradition, that foundation. You need to go out and buy just about everything you can get your hands on that particular philosophy, that particular religion that speaks to you personally. But remember, you don't want to be put into a category. You do not want to be put into a division. And most importantly, any form of adversity. Because then you'll be just like the JCI, right and wrong, black and white. You're going to heaven or hell. Do as we say, or you'll be shunned. Oops. He's the only way, but yet guess what? You can't do it by yourself. That's called ensnaring someone. That's entrapment. So remember, it's okay to branch out into other traditions. I mean, let's take for an example the African Caribbean traditions. Every single one of these traditions can be traced back to Africa. Okay? Its root that it took, its region that it derived from, but most importantly, how it developed over the centuries from region to region to region until it got to where it is today. You go into witchcraft, you go into necromancy, shamanism, devil worship. You're going to see the exact same developments, the same exact growths, which is why history and mythology must be applied first before you take the techniques and go into the experimentation process, before you can go in and start forging these relations and aligning yourselves with that particular current. Okay? You see what I mean? Adaption, adaption, and most importantly, growth. Okay? When you put more in, you're going to get more out of it. Okay? Think about it this way. When we talk about curses and hexes, do you just jump in and toss a curse out just because somebody said no to you? Or do you look at that individual's background? How many people have they hurt? Have you tried utilizing the legal system to deal with them long before you turn to dark sorcery, such as hexcraft, cursing, jinxing? Okay? Think about that for just a minute. Those of you who want to find a mate, are you going to go out and just say, hey, you want to marry me? Well, how do you know you're a good fit? How do you know you're a good fit if you don't get to know the person? The same is done within sorcery and spirituality. When you're dealing with demons, when you're dealing with the Loa, okay? When you're dealing with spirits of the reincarnated, how do you know that they're the right fit for you if you don't gain the research, if you don't gain that experience first? Growth and adaption, adaption and growth. This is applied within every aspect of one's life. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, guess what? I'm going to be a dad. No, being a dad is something a lot different. It's like being a ordained minister, a priest within Satanism or voodoo, Santeria, Pedo Mayambi or Monte. You see, you have to earn that right. First of all, you have to go out and you have to get the clothes. You have to impress. You have to put on your A game, which means you better have the knowledge and the wisdom to back it up. Because we all know women are a lot smarter. They'll see your game coming a mile away. The same thing is said in magic. If you go out and you gain all these materials, you go out and you buy the Baphomet statue, you buy the black candles, you buy an athame, a chalice, a phallus, the incense burner, and then you go straight into conjuring spirits. Well, what happens if you get a spirit that is malevolent? Something that is only interested in harming you? How do you defend yourself if you don't have that knowledge about the spirit that you are conjuring? Damn, her ears must be ringing. That was my son's mother that just called in. It's okay, I'll call her back in just a minute. But my point is this: without first doing your studies and your practices, how can you learn to defend yourself? How can you learn to put up protective barriers, cloaking your activities? Or perhaps, if you desire to make this a lifelong journey of growth, how will you grow within a system to become a priest or a priestess, a Membo or Hongan, a Bokor, both with a C and a K, a Mayo Beros or a Polero, a Bruja or Bruo, shaman, either dark or light or whatever. Same thing in Druidism. How will you evolve into this? How do you earn your way in the world? If you don't go out and you go to school, you don't and you learn the procedures. If you didn't do that, how would you go out there and get a job in your field? How would you get into these religions? The truth is, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't know what to do. That is why it's highly plausible to go out and benefit yourself. Study, intense studying, practice, dedication, repetition, getting into that, how should I say this, that ethical code of conduct, how you represent yourself. Do you back up everything you preach with numerous sources? Do you always make yourself available to the public? Because as a priest or priestess, you answer to the public, not the other way around. You are a servant of the people. Or did you forget the old ways, where the practitioner was given both money and fish and fur, depending on if the person could pay with finances or not? Where did the practitioner reside? In Africa, they were close to the king of the village. In Europe, they were either just on the outskirts of the village or they lived out in the woods. When you get into the witch trials and the burning times, then you see a whole another Bronze Age version of it, of good and evil. You either work for God or you work for the devil. How do you represent yourself? Do you know what you're talking about? Have you applied yourself and adapted accordingly throughout the regions of the world? If you get into necromancy, you're probably going to find your way going all the way into Russian and then down into African traditions, like I did, just through mythology and history. Or perhaps you're going to get into Satanism and see just how far back that tradition goes, where that name is derived by, Satan. But how do you know if you have not applied yourself and adapted accordingly? How do you grow if you do not practice what you're preaching? I'm a father of 3 years. 3 years. I got a 3-year-old. And trust me, I don't have a fucking clue what's coming next. But you know what? I'm willing to adapt to it. Even in my practices this month, I've got my face stuffed in books over here on the table. I've been spending a lot of time since the 1st of December 2020 in my altar room, worshiping, calling these spirits, invoking them, welcoming them into my world to come commune with me. You see, I can't go out there and go, I want to work with you. No, You've got to let them choose you, not the other way around. That's why I don't like these old grimoires, like the Grand Grimoire, who tell you to use a rod of power, force them into submission. That's to me, that's JCI propaganda. But how would you know that if you did not go into these grimoires? How would you know this if you did not go into the mythology, the history of things? And you want demonolatry and witchcraft and all that? Go into Montecule Summers' work. He did a hell of a job reconstructing that stuff. Go into Lionel and Patricia Fanthorpe's work. I believe they have a book called Satanism and Demonolatry, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they took this all the way back to the Paleolithic era. Okay, showed you the possible connections to devil worship going back 7,000 years. That's amazing, and that shows complete dedication, commitment to their cause. If you want to get into a religion, a philosophy, or a practice, you must like you really must likewise do the exact same thing. Research, study, growth, mature within the arts, the practices, earn your way. I hope this has been intellectual. I hope it's been inspiring, enlightening. And I hope you go out and get the sources that I just mentioned. It'll benefit you in the long run too. I even bought a book. What was it, last month, that I found on YouTube on ancient cultures, ancient spirits. I had a photo of, trying to see where it is right now. I had it over there somewhere. Ah, there it is. It's okay. Yeah, it's evil archaeology. That's actually relevant as well, especially in spirituality. I'd recommend that book as well. But yeah, go out and look into yourself. See what you're willing to do, and then go from there. All right? Have a good day, and until next time.